we've been modifying our stuff a little bit, and now we found out that having these sort of like a live reaction kind of videos would be fun to do and fun to try out. So Artem has found out, well, you're gonna present another very cool tool, and I'm gonna live react because I haven't, the one that you're now showing, I haven't actually used myself before, but I've been using its competitor. So I'm very curious to see how your chosen tool works, and then I'm gonna just say in my opinion which one is better, the one that I use, the competitor, or the one that you use. Obviously now your track record has been phenomenal. You've been winning all the contests what we've been having. Well, I don't know, let's see how this works out.
I think I will be just explaining how I use the tool. You will provide some insights, comments, you will ask questions, and then at the end we can see if my tool is better than the one that you're currently using. Today's topic is very simple. It's basically automation and integration. And there are different tools you can use to automate your, for example, marketing, and in order to do integration and integrate services to each other. And probably the top services that are being used currently are Zapier, Make.com, and ifttt.com, which is more, if TTT, if this then that. It's a short for if this then that. So it's IFTTT. Yes, exactly. Rolls off your tongue, doesn't it?
Nice.
So basically, the if this then that service is more aimed at personal automation, not really geared towards companies. It's, for example, if you want to back up your tweets, or if you want to automate, for example, location tracking, or if you want to automatically post tweets, from Excel spreadsheet to your personal tweet, but it's not really aimed at companies, and it's not really aimed at marketing. It's more personal automation, but there are some similarities in all of the tools. For example, you can do some basic Twitter automation and so forth. But let's just quickly dive right in and talk about the service that I want to talk about today, and that is Make.com. It's formerly known as Integromat. It's a really, really good service, and it's sad that it doesn't get as much as publicity as, for example, Zapier, and of course the direct competitor is Zapier.
Yeah, but I think if I might say here in
of course,
but
please.
I think the Make has been going quite much. Like it has been now going up quite much, because when it was what was it? What was the name before that? It was Integromat.
Integromat.
Yeah,
Integromat.
That was pretty like low-key service. Not many people knew about it, and everybody was just talking about Zapier. But now I think they have just gone to the next level. So now they become more and more an actual competitor against Zapier. Do you actually pronounce it Zapier or Zapier? I don't know. Maybe Zapier.
I think it's Zapier. I think it's Zapier. Yeah, I think it's Zapier. Zapier. Guys, if you know the right pronunciation, comment down below.
We're lost here.
But I think it's Zapier.
I tend to call it as well Zapier, but then when you actually use it, you always have these zaps, like you have it right there. It's Zap. So then it could also be Zapier. It's a French company, if I remember right. So, what else?
I don't remember exactly who is behind Zapier, but I do know that they have been growing just like exponentially,
super fast.
But just to give a brief overview, so basically Zapier can be used to automate and integrate services. This is basically how it is. It allows people with little to no technical knowledge, it allows them to integrate and combine services together in order to automate some of the workflow. So I can show you just the absolute simplest way you can use this.
And Zapier is the one that I use much.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say you want to, for example, let's say you want to tweet automatically tweets based on your Excel spreadsheet. So you have Excel spreadsheet, and every time you put a new row into Excel spreadsheet, it will automatically tweet. So you can choose here Google Sheets as your application, and then Twitter. And now you can create a trigger. So here, for example, here, new spreadsheet row, and then select action, create a tweet. And now you can click try it, and you'll be able to now authenticate with Google Sheets. You will be able to authenticate with Twitter, and you'll be able to create an automation. And once you start automation flow, every time you add to a specific Google document a new row, it will automatically tweet it. So this is basic functionality. It's more or less kind of like drag and drop. People really love it. And yeah, it seems to be very, very popular. For me personally, it's not really good enough. And I'll tell you a little bit, why. And before I do that, let's see the pricing.
This is Zapier, interesting for me as well to see, because I use a lot of Zapier. Okay, I would call it Zapier. You're gonna call it Zapier. So when one way is the right one. So
yes,
we're gonna end up like one is gonna be right and one is gonna be wrong. But I've been using a lot of Zapier, and we are now actually just creating huge structure with Zapier. So if the Make.com that you're gonna show, it's gonna be better. I still have a good time, enough time to change to Make and make everything there. So I'm very curious to see.
Yeah, for sure. And when it comes to Zapier, I think most of the people use it for marketing automation and for data consolidation. But the free version allows you to have 100 executions per month. So this means basically that if you have a workflow that you have created, every time it's executed, it's considered a task. So basically, if you have a free account, your workflow, no matter if you have 1 or 10 workflows, you only can do 100 executions a month. And if you go to the next, tier, that is a starter tier, which is about 30 euros, and that includes 750 executions per month, and it includes some additional functionality like multi-step zaps, filters, formatters, version, but most important is amount of executions. This is probably the best one. And then, once you go to professional or team, it becomes very, very expensive very quickly. But most people, I think, use either starter or professional. This is basically I think most popular tiers. When it comes to Make.com, I think their pricing is very different in a sense that here,
so
if
what
I remember
ops
correctly,
operations.
So so ops is basically operations, executions.
So it's the same in tasks.
So yeah. So this is pretty much it. And again, if I'm mistaken, please correct me. But here you can see operations, blah 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 blah, two-factor authentication, parallel, and then standard apps, unlimited users, and then here we're going to. There we go. Every time a model in a scenario performs an action, it counts as operation. For example,
so it's a task.
When you
the SAP.
Yes, it's it's a bit different because here it's more fine-tuned. So basically, if you have an automation that consists of 5 modules, every time each module is executed, that is considered an operation.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a bit different.
But I think
here,
10,000 is still a lot more than 100 tasks. So even though that's the case, because it's kind of like 2 tasks in one app most of the times.
Yeah, absolutely. So in my opinion, I've been really happy with the Pro version. It's only $16 a month, and if you go monthly, it's like $20, a little bit less than that. And if you need additional operations, it will grow a little bit, so it can go to 30. So basically, and the team plan starts at $34, which I think is really, really good. But anyway, the point is that I kind of feel it's more affordable, in my opinion. So this is, I think, definitely something that you should keep in mind. But again, the pricing is still very low. So if you're able to automate some of your workflow and you save maybe 2-3 hours of your time, or you become more productive, that time that you save will pay for Zapier. Yeah, it's not. So I don't think that the pricing is so important from the perspective of, which one is better. Of course, if you are talking about, like basically if your whole business is run on Zapier or Make.com, then obviously, there might be a difference in pricing. But in most cases, for most companies, the pricing difference is negligible.
Yep.
But now, let's log into Make.com and let's see what kind of stuff have I done and what kind of automations have I used. So first of all, I'd like to point out that Make.com is geared more towards advanced user. So what the heck does it mean? It means that Zapier is targeted more at people that don't really have an understanding what is what is a database, what is data transfer, operations. I think the learning curve for Make.com is a bit steeper compared to Zapier. Zapier tries to get everything, it wants to get you started as quickly as possible with little technical information as possible.
And that's why they've been growing so fast.
Yes. But once you actually start making complex integrations, this is where Make.com provides a lot of cool functionality. So one thing that I really like, and again, if I'm wrong, guys, if everything you can do in Make.com can be done in Zapier, tell me, help us, let us know, because obviously I have experience working with Make.com more than with Zapier. So if you go to devices, here you have support for mobile devices. So you could actually trigger automation from your mobile device. It could be useful in some scenarios, and I think that's pretty awesome. Another thing you can do is you have here data storage. So basically you have a database by default that is part of your service, and this database can be used for data storage. So you could actually integrate services in a very interesting way. You could pull the data from one service, put it in the database, and then you could create another automation that, for example, parses the data and offers it in another format. So basically it's database built in, but what's wonderful about it is that it's very, very simple. First of all, you create a structure for your database. Here, for example, you can just here I have structure, I have URL, it's text, I have title, it's text, and ID, it's a number, and then save. So again, we're not talking about very complex things in terms of like technical understanding, but still, something that requires
you should have some sort of beginner knowledge, the basic knowledge of
database
work.
Yeah.
But
so
most likely,
here,
if you're gonna do integrations anyway, I think you're already past that phase and you understand something. This is not that my parents would use. Never, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. So here I'll show you some of the automations that I have created that really save a lot of time. So first of all, what I like about Make.com, and this is probably the biggest difference, is that it's a visual tool. So basically here I can see my automation flow in a visual representation. Each module is represented by an icon, and then each module is connected to another module, and then I can also set up filters so I can decide what information gets passed from one module to another module, right? So this is something really cool. So every single automation always starts with a trigger. Something needs to happen in order to trigger this automation. And you have multiple options. You can, for example, fire workflow automation at certain intervals, like you have here. So, for example, this automation starts every 30 minutes automatically. But you can also start automation when something happens. New data is added, file modified, whatever that is. But there is always a trigger. And now, for example, here, this is my accounting material preparation. So I have a problem. My accountant can only accept PDF files. So if I buy something for my company, like I pay for servers or I pay for Make.com, and if they send me a receipt in just HTML, just in an email, I can't send it to my accountant. I have to create PDF, send it to her, and this is really tedious. So what I created a new email address. I'm not going to disclose the email address so you don't spam me, but I created a new email box, and that email box accepts emails only from my email. So every 60 minutes...
hold on. So just to clarify, did you open that email box? Do you have a separate account where you're sending, like, your primary email is sending with a certain filter, command to another email account, and that is activating? Or do you have in your current account, do you have like certain like a label where things go, and if that label is activated, then it's gonna send? Okay.
No, I created a different mailbox, completely different mailbox, and when I need something to go to accounting, I just forward from my email to that email box, and every 60 minutes, Make.com fetches new emails, and then it uses router to determine which path it should take. So,
and now
for example,
now we're talking about the router. What is actually?
So router basically allows you. So, for example, when new email is fetched from my email address.
Okay, I'm gonna clarify. It's the router. That is from Make. That is like the Make's own router.
Router
so
is
not like a
router,
different. It's not a different app.
No. It's not different service.
Yeah.
It's a workflow management module.
Got it.
Very good question. Very good question. So it's basically, it allows you to control the flow, what goes where. So here, every time email comes, the router has two options based on the filter. If there is no attachment found, then it goes this way. But if there is attachment found, then it goes this way. So basically, the router allows you to create alternative paths.
Right. Okay. So this is already what is different compared to Zapier. And the way I say this is that Zapier also nowadays, they, back in the days, they didn't have this multi-function and multi-level in the integration automations, but now they do have, but they don't still name this router. They don't have this, like, it's just a different kind of flow. And now that I see this, I think this is actually a lot more clear than what Zapier has, because even that I've been using Zapier for a long time, and I would say that I'm pretty fluent with it. To my brain, this actually is a lot better to understand, because now when you have the router, when it says if something happens, then this happens, and this is a visual canvas. So yeah, already I think this is a winner already, this part.
Yeah, and if you think about it, if, for example, you want to add a third branch, it's very simple. You, for example, drag here, for example, send email, you drag a module here, and then you bring it close to the router, and it will automatically connect. And now you can define action that you want to take, for example, send email, and here you define the condition. So for me, it's very, very visual. It's very simple to understand. And when you create complex integrations or automations, being able to visually see it allows you to kind of understand what's happening. What I also like is that if you click here, run once, it will run the scenario, and you will see how the data travels from one place to another and which path it takes, which I think helps quite a lot to understand, like, is it working correctly? But just to go over very quickly, basically everything here is just modules. And I have created here 2 paths. If email doesn't have attachment, so if attachment is 0, then I use pdf.co to automatically generate PDF from that email and send it. I'm not going to show the address, but send it to my accountant. And after that, archive it in Evernote so that I can get back to it easier later, and send me a Telegram message saying that the material was delivered to the accountant correctly.
Okay, so hold on. Last video we were talking about Notion, and you got me hooked in. Now we are also using Notion. Why the hell you have Evernote there?
So the reason
because
why
we were
I use
super
Evernote,
clear that Notion is better than Evernote.
Yes. So the reason why I use Evernote is that Evernote actually works with PDF files much better. So if you have PDF files, or if you have just in general any kind of files, and maybe I'm wrong, but in Notion, if you add 1 million PDF files, searching information from those PDF files is really hard. But with Evernote, it indexes PDF content, and it automatically OCRs the content by default. So that means that once I have accounting material from 10 years or 20 years, whatever that is, in Evernote, I can find what I need faster. In Notion, I would have to know, like, the file name, when did I, upload it. So I think Notion doesn't have this ability to index content from the PDF files. And this is the only reason why I use Evernote.
All right. I'll accept that answer.
Yes.
You're not a traitor.
That's good. That's good. And basically, this is how it works. So from that perspective, this is very good. And this iterator, it's a really cool feature as well. So iterator basically means that you can iterate on an object or on an array. So basically, if email that I send contains attachments, then this iterator means that it will perform these 3 actions on each of the object. So if I send email with 3 attachments, it will go to router, and then it will go this way because I will have more than 0 attachments. And then iterator will check how many attachments are there. If there are 10 attachments, it will take 1 attachment from there, and it will execute once this workflow. It will take 2nd attachment and execute it again. 3rd attachment and execute it again. Basically, it allows you to go through list of objects and perform an action on every single object. So this is how I use it, and from my perspective, it's been working really well. So basically, now I have an email address where I send emails like receipts, and if receipt has PDF, then it will automatically be forwarded to my accountant and will be stored in Evernote, and it will notify me via Telegram. But if there is no attachment, that means that the email itself is a receipt, and I need to generate PDF from that email. Then I need to send it to accountant, store it in Evernote, and send the information via Telegram that material was sent to accountant successfully and stored successfully.
Nice.
So now, in order to just show you what kind of cool stuff you can do, we can do something very, very simple. So everything starts.
Can I ask here? Oh,
of course.
Well, I say, can I ask? But I'm still gonna ask whatever is the response.
Please do. Yes.
But how many apps Make support? Because Zapier supports like 5,000 or more, so they have basically everything there. Everybody is having. If you have a SaaS company, you obviously have Zapier connection possibility. So what's going on with Make?
So Make.com has, I think, 1,400 apps integrated. So most of the most important apps, all of them are integrated.
Got it.
So basically, if you have some weird app, maybe you will have better luck with Zapier, but I haven't found anything that I'm missing in Make.com. So let's do something fun. So first of all, let's create an automation scenario. And the first step is always to choose a trigger, like what needs to happen. And here, let's connect my Pocket to Make.com.
What's Pocket?
And let's automate it. So Pocket is a really cool service where you can, when you find an interesting article or video on the internet, you can click on the Pocket icon in your browser, and it will store that link for you to read later, so that you can come back to it later.
It's like Pinterest, but for links and articles.
Yes. But the beautiful part about Pocket and the way that I use it is that Pocket also creates an audio version of the article. So basically, what I do is I add a link. For example, let's say I found a really cool article about marketing. I add it to Pocket, and then using Pocket mobile application, I just put on my headphones and I just listen to the article using machine-generated audio, and it works really well.
That's cool. So, I have to start using Pocket as well. We have to make another video for that.
Yes,
we need to make a video
sure.
About Pocket, but also OCR tools.
Yeah,
for sure, because OCR is something that's you can do it at all, but it's still, if you don't want to use Adobe, then it's always gonna be a lot of trouble. We've been trying to use it then Notion now, but I haven't found a way to do it properly, so we need to do that as well.
So here you can choose a trigger, and this trigger that has acid in it means that it will be triggered immediately after something happens. So here, for example, you can choose, for example, an action, but these actions will not be triggered automatically. Only acid actions will be triggered automatically. So for example, if you choose non-acid action, you will see this clock added here, because this action needs to be spawned at specific intervals. But if you choose an acid action,
and now here, when you're using Zapier, the free version, or even the lower tier paid versions, they only have the tiers. They never have like immediate actions. Only if you're paying the top dollar subscription, then you have the immediate action stuff. But in other parts they always have 15-minute intervals, if I remember right, and it can actually be even like what was it daily? It used to be daily, I think. Yeah, now I think it's 15 or 30 minutes.
Yeah. I think so.
So it's not
so.
instant.
Yeah.
So
and
this
now,
is good. If now do you get the acid ones also in the
free version?
Lower, yeah, the free versions and the lower tier ones.
I think so, yes. And at least in the cheapest version, you for sure get it. I know that for sure. In the cheapest version, you absolutely get it, because that's what I was using for quite some time. Okay, and here, I have already connected Pocket.com to this, so I'm not going to basically add a connection again. But if you want to authenticate with Pocket and add it here, you just click add, and pop-up comes, do you accept, blah blah blah, easy stuff. So here you need to decide,
pretty straightforward, just like in Zapier.
Yeah. And here you need to decide, like, if you fetch items from Pocket, will there be unread items, archive items, or all? Here you can choose, for example, all, and then do you want to fetch only favorites? No, doesn't matter. And do you want to fetch items with a specific tag? Let's try that, so that we have a tag, and this would be Make, for example. That will be my tag. So it will automatically launch this automation when it finds new link being added to Pocket that contains tag Make. And then you can also choose here domain. If you want links for specific domain, you can set limits and, basic stuff. But again, very, very simple stuff. And do you want to fetch all the links,
right
for
now,
example? Or do you want to fetch starting on a specific date, or manually?
Okay, so what happens next?
So next,
so
now, basically,
what would
now
you
you
use
have
with this one?
So here you can decide what do you want to do with that data. So basically, every time new link is added, now we can fetch that link and do something with it. So if you, for example, wanted to send an email, you wanted to, for example, send it as an email, you could, for example, choose here module email, send email, and now you can just drag them together and they're connected. And here you choose email account that you have connected to this system. And now you can put subject, and here you could type interesting link, for example, and then here you can choose, this comes from Pocket, and here you can choose, for example, does it have name, height, image? I think there should be something like title or something similar. Given title, there we go. And then will email be plain text or HTML? HTML, and then here you can write, here is interesting link for you. And then you choose given URL. That's it. Now basically, field last on, to whom you are sending it, obviously. I'm going to send it to myself, And you can have multiple people here. So that's it. Now the integration is complete and we can actually test it. I'm going to save a link in Pocket and add a tag Make. I have done it now. That's it. And now I can just click run once and we will see what happens.
Okay, so that's a test.
Boom. Yeah, that's it. So here it fetched one link. Here it is. We can see here what it fetched. And here you can see results of the email. You can see, body of the email, and everything worked correctly. Everything is perfect, all green. And if I'm happy, I can now click scheduling and it will be put online and everything is honky-dory.
Nice.
So, of course, I can go, I can make it a lot more complex. I can go to flow management, and I can, for example, put a router here like this, and then I can add email, send email, and I can put it here, and then I can add, maybe instead of email, I could put, for example, Slack Obviously, it has Slack integration as well. Let me just close this Slack and then create message. So now I have a router and I need to create conditions based on which condition the email, the link will go to the email, and based on which conditions it will go to Slack. So you click here on the connection, and now you're able to create a filter. And I'm going to put here, for example, domain contains, I don't know, Facebook, let's say. So here, condition, given URL contains facebook.com. That's it. And now you press OK. You have set up your first filter. And here, another one, if it doesn't contain Facebook in URL, and here condition, URL, and then does not contain facebook.com.
And now that I see this one, I am not a coder per se, but I've been doing a little bit of coding stuff just out of curiosity. And I think everybody who's now doing, marketing or whatever you're now doing with computer business, I think you need to learn at least some level of coding understanding, so that you just understand what happens and why. And now that I see that, that's basically just code. It's like, if something happens, then do that, else do this. So basically just normal how you would write any code, but just without actually doing the coding part.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
So if you understand that, then this is fantastic.
This is easy. This is easy. And one thing that you might want to really get a kick out of it is check out what also Make.com supports. And this is not, exclusive to Make.com. Zapier supports it as well.
Oh, ChatGPT, obviously. Yeah.
Yes. So this is what is really, really, really cool. So here, I'm not going to add my account, but once you add, I would have to show my API keys. Let me just quickly maybe stop sharing, and I can quickly enter my API keys. But basically what you can do is, and I think this is a huge opportunity for many companies and many people, because using OpenAI and ChatGPT in your workflow is amazing, but it requires integration. But with Make.com and with Zapier, you can start using this wonderful technology in order to improve your own marketing. And I'll show you what I mean. So here we have ChatGPT, right? Basically. So what we could do actually is we could fetch the content every time we add something to Pocket. We could actually fetch the HTML content of that article, and we can ask, for example, ChatGPT to summarize the article and create 10 takeaway points for that article, and also create a tweet that will share that article in your social media.
Oh yeah, wow, yeah, that's actually pretty good. So simple, and also, such a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and imagine something even cooler. Imagine you don't use Pocket, or you go with something like Google Sheets, right? Something really boring, but in my opinion, pretty awesome. So you create a Google Sheets. Oh, wait, I have to do it this way. There we go. So you create a Google Sheets file and you call it, tweet ideas or something like that. I'm not going to choose it now. Sure. And then every time you add a new idea to the file, you can feed it to ChatGPT, and it will create, based on your idea, really cool social media post. And then you can, add Twitter here or Facebook, and you can create a tweet automatically based on your idea, but on OpenAI's implementation.
We use ChatGPT so much all the time. We actually use a lot of other AIs as well over the past couple of years, and but especially with ChatGPT, that requires quite much of giving like proper context, context to so that it can actually produce valid stuff. So I assume that when you are connected with API, you can choose then your chats, and you can choose the one that you have already give context, so that when you are giving these good, let's say, tweet ideas or blog post ideas, it can, it uses that particular chat and then prints valid stuff out.
So basically you're absolutely correct. The way that I would do it is I would go to ChatGPT and I would do what is called priming. So basically, you can create a prompt, you can test it in ChatGPT, and then you can copy the prompt to make.com so that it always uses that prompt, and it will basically allow you to always get really good results. In ChatGPT, the biggest problem is that a lot of people write something like this: create interesting tweet about digital marketing for my Twitter account. They
without
give something
any
very
context.
and it creates really like absolute rubbish. So now I think what is really important is priming the ChatGPT. So this is, for example, what I do, and you can import this same prompt into make.com, so it will use that same prompt every time automation runs. But I write something like, my target audience is our startups in Finland in technology field. Usually they lack marketing expertise. Expertise and don't have a lot of resources. My company offers growth marketing service, and we have been doing it for over
So we didn't
10 years.
even plan this one. This is actually a good way to advertise your business. You can also put my stuff there. So we have a growth marketing agency as well. I only think that we are not targeting startups.
So again, just so you know,
it's very nice.
So basically, if you didn't know, Mikael has an awesome company, and they focus on lead generation, and they help companies across the board get more sales, basically. And he's been doing it for quite some time. So definitely need to plug him as well. But their idea here, basically, that you prime it. Do you please use this as context for my future comments. My tone of voice is casual and with humor.
You can also put there that your tone is Arnold Schwarzenegger, so then you get all the stuff with Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
You can do that fun stuff. You can do that. Do you understand?
Your voice is Andrew Tate.
Yes.
I feel like those tweets would be fun, though. You would have Andrew Tate voice talking about marketing.
And now you see it starts generating a little bit, better tweets that are actually more interesting. And the idea here is with AI, and especially with ChatGPT or ChatGPT similar technologies, the priming is the secret sauce. It's not the technology, because everybody have it. Everybody is able to use that. It's like same when you go to cook something, right? Everybody can have access to good meat, good vegetables, but it's the recipe that's the secret sauce, And I think in in
Actually, that's
GPT
also
based technologies. Yeah.
that's also what you can if you're talking about marketing. When companies, and I mean, like when I'm in parties or these cocktail events that don't happen that much anymore thanks to COVID, but at
Yeah.
least used to. And people were asking like, okay, what are the good, great tips for in getting more leads and in our business scene stuff. It's You can't give an actual good answer without you understanding, what their company's
The
doing, how they've
business.
been doing their business currently. How much usually they get leads per month. Do they actually even get inbound stuff? Do they do outbound stuff? Do they do any kind of marketing? All this kind of stuff. Do they have any like CRM integrations and marketing budgets, etc.? So you need to know all these stuff until before you can give an actual good answer, like do this and that should help. So without having this, that's why you have to communicate with ChatGPT. You have to communicate with the same way, that you need to just tell the prime, you need to get the context, because otherwise it's just randomly asking what's good, and then it says something, and then you're like, okay, this sucks, doesn't understand. Well, obviously, because it's kind of like a new person every time you open a new chat. They have a blank slate. They haven't heard about your business before, or your things.
Yeah, and remember, if you just Google ChatGPT prompts, you will be able to see so much good stuff.
Yeah,
so much good stuff. Just look at what others have been doing and just experiment. Because once you create your recipe, and it could take quite a lot of work and effort, ChatGPT will create unique stuff, and it will always be unique, and it will always have the same tone of voice, and it will always kind of feel like your stuff. And this is what I think is awesome about Make.com. And maybe we could start wrapping it up, since it's been like 50 minutes already. So, yeah. So basically, with Make.com, because it's visual, it's actually very easy to get started. But also because it's visual, once you start creating very complex integrations, it's easier to manage it, because you see it, you see the flow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And everything.
That is the biggest downfall with Zapier, whatever you call it. The big C. The biggest downfall is that it's extremely hard to see the big picture. And when I make this doing, I just want to say here, I think that's possible, but if you would put between the ChatGPT 3 and Twitter, you could just put the Telegram bots that would say that, like, here is the tweet, do you like it? And then you can say like, I fucking love it, and then it would go straight to Twitter, and like no way it would do another version. Can you do that? Because then you would be just on the fly, you would just go and see in your Telegram, like, okay, this is fire, let's do it. Otherwise it was like no way, and then you would get a new version without being on your desktop trying to configure it, the text.
So you can
would you be able to do the loop?
Yeah, you would be able to do that, but it would work in a different way. And this is I think a very, very genius question, because first you would have this loop basically, like there is a trigger, and then ChatGPT creates the data, and then it puts the data in the data store, in the database that Make.com has, and then you create second scenario for the loop, right? For the Telegram loop. So in that second scenario, you would use as a trigger new data being added to data store, and then it would send you information to the to Telegram and ask for yes or no. And if you say yes, then it sends the tweet. So you need to split it into two parts, but no problem at all.
Okay. So you need to put the data store here before that you can just put Telegram's bot that then you say yes, no, and then
Yeah, so
There
basically
would be like
the
a
thing is that
router in the Telegram bot.
I guess you could say that, but the thing is that you could do it probably in one automation, but I think it will be very complex. If you split it into two, it'll just be easier to manage. But again, I just have to admit, of course, I'm not a like mega pro user of Make.com. There is so much functionality that I didn't have time to explore, but I'm 100% sure you can do this.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Okay, yeah. All right, so okay, once again, Make is better than Zapier. I kind of had this feeling though. So I've been using so long. I've been saying this many times now already, but I've just seen the I've seen the problems with Zapier and the ones that are almost like deal breaker problems. It's a really great tool, however, but there's some, like for example this visual kind of stuff, and then that you can do all this, and also I think they're a bit too greedy. Their billing is, when you're using it more and more, and you have more complex stuff, you actually find yourself spending quite much of money. Whereas you can get cheaper deal with better features. Yeah, maybe it just comes down to if they have the apps that you want to use in Maker. I think that's the only thing that decides.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, you're absolutely correct. If your app is not supported in Make.com, you have to go to Zapier for sure, because that's just how it is. They support more apps. But if your apps are supported in Make.com, I think it makes a better choice. It becomes a better choice for you because it'll be easier, but also there are additional features that you can then later start using, like data store and mobile devices and so forth. But again, I recommend always trying both tools and, just see what you like. In my opinion, as a programmer, or at least a person who used to program, I used to program in Python, PHP. And for me, Make.com kind of feels like it's made for a little bit more technical people. So, like the loops and like if then, this kind of flow control. Like if you have an engineer brain, like you don't have to be a programmer, it kind of fits, it makes a lot of sense. But if you just want something very, very quickly done and you don't really care that much, I think Zapier could be...
Simple integrations.
Yeah, if you want to, for example, push data from Google Sheets to email or something like that, right? Something extremely simple. I think Zapier can do that very quickly, and you don't have to really it'll probably be done in a few minutes, while in Make.com, I don't think they have ready scenarios. So in Zapier, I think they have like scenarios that you can create with just a few clicks, and then you just modify them. Yeah, basically like templates or something. Yeah, but I think in Make.com, they lack this. They have some, but not as much.
Yeah,
so
but
I think that is also one.
The templates are not very convenient anyway. You very rarely use exactly like that. So then you end up, at least in my case, I never use templates. I just always create from scratch because, well, you anyway end up customizing it. So why would you even bother?
Yeah, but again, for somebody who doesn't know anything about Zapier, for them, templates probably is a good way to get started. If they don't know anything about Zapier and just want to get something done, push orders from Shopify to email or something similar. For them, I think templates are pretty good.
For sure. Yep. Cool.
So,
all right, there you go.
I think. Thank you, Mikael, for your time, and hopefully you enjoyed me showing a little bit of Make.com. Maybe you'll give it a try, and
I got excited and roused a little bit.
Very good. Early in the morning for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but But imagine, like, once you start adding ChatGPT in automation, you can take it to the whole new level.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think there is like a lot of opportunity for some really cool stuff. And remember, you can also use ChatGPT to transform the data. So you could, for example, give it data from Excel and say like, hey, create data in CSV format, and ChatGPT can change data from tabular format to something that would work in CSV, for example. So there is a lot of cool stuff you can do, and I think we're just scratching the surface. But otherwise, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the new format. Let us know what you think, and we're going to do a lot more of these. These are really fun. I think this could be our format that works for us, and let us know in the comments down below.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you so much, Mikael. See you
Pleasure's all
again
mine.
soon next week.
All right.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.